Good morning. I am thankful to have been given the space I need to make this recording today. It'll be a little bit later than I anticipated, but some interesting events have transpired that prevented me from recording. It was actually kind of interesting because for almost a week now, I almost completely forgot about ASMR, and I've been so absorbed in my own life and the experiences that I'm having that it kind of put the blinders on, and everything else that I've been doing or working on definitely almost vanished for a little bit. Not to say I was going to quit these things, more just that they were not in the forefront of my awareness. And then I remembered ASMR, I think yesterday morning, and I was like, oh no, I haven't done anything. And that's unusual, to say the least. I need to do some research today on some of the things that I experienced. Just because I'm curious, some of the mechanisms of the human body, I guess, without giving too much detail. It's a quiet morning outside and inside my head, which is kind of nice. This piece is very comforting. I've been picking up meditation a lot lately, and there are easy days and more challenging days for certain, but on some of the easier days there's just this pervading stillness within me, and it's really easy for me to grab onto it and to tether myself to it, and at that point it's just very blissful, very, very peaceful and still. And I like that. We live in an interesting world. Back when I used to say things like that or think about the state of the world, I was sort of cynical. Not in the sense that I thought everything was worthless and nothing good can happen. Not that kind of cynicism. Just that I wasn't satisfied with the state of the world, and I thought that in order for the world to get to a state that I thought would be more useful for everyone. Sorry, my stomach's a little upset. Changes would have to occur so on such a widespread level that I deemed the process unreasonable or unlikely. But what do you think? What do you think about the world? Maybe the world's too big to make generalizations about. I certainly haven't seen the world, but I'll talk about it as if I have. Regurgitating facts and ideas and statistics. Pretty unverifiable data. Some might say we could feel that the data is true, but we could feel anything. So I don't know how much of that is actually accurate. What kind of world do you dream of? If you think about your perfect world, your utopia, what do you see? What happens in it? What sort of people live in your world? What do they do? How do they handle each other? How do they treat each other? How do they treat their environment? Do they respect it? Or do they own it? Or both? How do they organize themselves? In what manner do they go about their daily business? How and what do they teach their children? What paradigm do they see the world through? Are they friends with the animals? Or do they own them? What do they do with their waste? Do they have a value system for exchanges? Worlds are pretty complex places. I think our world is an interesting one. And we're in such a unique place. It's taken us a while to get here. These patterns weren't built very quickly. They've evolved over time. I maintain a positive view sprinkled in with any sort of cynicism I might be dwelling within, in the sense that if I'll hold to the best possible option, even if I think it may not be the first to occur. I think that's useful. Some may call it silly or delusional. And maybe they're right. But I don't care. So, for instance, with the state of our technology, we now live in a global world. We're more connected to people than we ever have been. But the quality of our relationships has suffered because of this. I think this has to do with the fact that kind of I don't know if it's called this, but the law of value or something along those lines. The idea that the more you have of something, the less it's worth to you. And you can see many examples of this if you think about it in your own life. But in regards to relationships, for instance, the more you have of them, the less they can mean to you. And this is because you're just simply unable to put the same amount of attention and interest into as many people as you can a few select, close people. If you think about the people on Facebook with hundreds or thousands of friends, maybe put friends in quotation marks for this example, how many of those friends do you think they speak to on a regular basis? How many secrets of these friends do you think they know? How many times do you think they've seen them in person in the last year? How many of their birthdays do they remember? Probably not many. I was there. I did this. I used to have a lot of Facebook friends. Believe it or not, I was kind of the popular kid in high school. Well, not the popular kid. I was one of them. Because I did things to make myself that way. I was definitely a different person back then than I was now. Somewhat, literally. But I didn't have many friends. I didn't have many actual friends at this time. It was kind of strange, and I even recognized it at the time, that everyone seemed to know me, and everyone liked me and wanted to, not to be around me necessarily, they enjoyed being associated with me. But when it came down to it, I just didn't have that many people that I would call my friends, or people that I would trust, in the sense that I know you and I know if I put my faith in you, you can accomplish this. People that I would like to be with over time. I just didn't have a lot of people in my life that were that meaningful to me. And this was strange, but it was in high school. I didn't care that much. And I did have a few close friends. And generally those are all that really mattered to me. I didn't need a bunch of friends. But we get caught in these ways of wanting to facilitate these numbers games. And this can be said about many things. Many more than just social things too. But we will get this idea or an ideal in our head, and usually there's some sort of numbers game or something that we can quantify and keep track of. And we'll get so caught up in increasing this, building up some form of our status, whether it's our job or our social circle or our personal projects of some sort. Sometimes we might go out of our way to do something that other people want for us, or think that we should do, or be, or have, and neglect the voices that are within us that would like to contest that a little bit. And these are important things to recognize. Maybe. I'm not at liberty to say what you need or don't need, should or shouldn't do, be or shouldn't be. But if you're unhappy, you have to change. That's something that I found to be an amusing recognition. A lot of people, including myself, I speak sometimes in third person, but I want to make it clear that I've gotten through these lessons too. I'm no stranger to the course of life, by any means. I learned, let me backtrack. People want, when they're unhappy, naturally they want to be happy. But the trap that people fall in, myself included, was I wanted to be happy doing the same things that I was doing. I wanted to be happy without any change in circumstances or thinking or environment. But do you remember that quote from Einstein that people pass around? It's one of those memes now. That the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. That's sort of what it is. If you want to be happy, if you want to experience change in any sort, you have to change. You have to be different, think different, do different. You can't live the same sort of life that you're living and expect to get different results than what you've had in the past. But that's a strange truth, and it's something that often goes overlooked, which I still find amusing. Some of the simplest truths are the ones that can be most elusive. I actually am interested in making a video on happiness, and I won't go so far as to say how to acquire it, how to be happy, but just some general things that you can implement into your life that will not make you happy, but they will increase your chances of making yourself happy. Kind of the circumstances to aggregate around you that are most conducive to facilitate one's happiness. And again, I do not mean to sound so conceited in the sense that I know how to make you happy. Because, truth be told, I don't. And I can't. And I will never. But there are certain things that will help everyone to some degree, even if it's not the point of the path that you end up resting on. It will show you where to take yourself and your life in order to create that for yourself. And I think this is an important distinction to make, that happiness is not something you receive. It is something that you create or you acclimate towards. I am all about self-empowerment. I am all about people, myself included, taking responsibility for their lives and everything within them. This means taking responsibility for your body, especially. For your body, especially. For what you're doing to it. What you're doing with it. But also your mind, your thoughts, your emotions. Because these things are just patterns. These things are just conditioned habituations that you've brought upon yourself, or that you've picked up from other people. Those can be the tricky ones. But they are within your locus of control, if you place it there. And certainly something can be done about them if you're unhappy with your current state. Another thing that I am at odds with in my view of the world, whether it's accurate or not, people claim that our technology is ineffably progressed, that our science and technology industries have been farther than they ever have been, and have pushed humanity into the brink, the frontier of space, and all of these miraculous discoveries that have furthered our world. And I don't for an instant devalue what we've accomplished, or what we're doing, or how we've improved the world. I think that these things certainly have their uses and have been useful and very just amazing. But simultaneously, maybe paradoxically, in this world where we are farther, more advanced, more quote unquote mature than we ever have been, we're destroying ourselves. Species of animal on this planet are going extinct faster than they ever have. We're destroying our planet's atmosphere simply because we like to eat meat. Medical technology is absurd. It's absurd how much they can manipulate the human body. And yet, even at this level, diseases are running rampant. Age expectancy is not always the highest it's ever been. In many cases, it is quite low. Why is this? Why is it, as far as we are, all of these things are still happening? It can't be said any clearer, any simpler, that we are destroying ourselves and our home. Alan Watts once talked about the idea that our technology was maturing and growing at a faster rate than our morality and our sense of spirituality and connection to the world, and that this was why we were able to maintain a sense of dominance over everything. And with that sense of dominance, with that sense of entitlement, comes the illusion of power and the fact that, or the idea that we can do whatever we want. We are untouchable. Look at what we've accomplished. Look at what we might accomplish. Only one way to go from here. But down this path, we might need to recalibrate what direction that actually is. I think it is useful to develop a sense of organic unity within oneself, to begin to see the world as the other side of you. These are some ideas that the book that I'm reading is touching upon, but it hasn't quite gotten there yet. In fact, it might be more prevalent in the other book, which I'm not reading yet. I'm not sure if I will. But if you truly see the world as another part of yourself, something, even if not directly connected to you, something crucial to your existence, for you cannot exist without your environment. You are woven in it since birth, and you will never leave it. Even if you only see your world as that, it's humbling and it's very sobering to understand that if we mess this up, we can't really go back. People talk about needing to save the planet, save planet Earth, save Mother Gaia, whatever you want to say. We don't need to save her. This planet's been around for supposedly billions of years. We really, well, I guess we could do things to really screw up our planet, like in a dismantling sort of way. But what we're doing now isn't that sort of destruction. Really what we need to do, and this has been said before, is we're not needing to save the planet, we're needing to save ourselves. And it's interesting to me that some of these ideas are such a thing. Meaning, these ideas, you've heard them. I'm not speaking any profound truths that you've never heard before in your life. These ideas are published, not always in the mainstream media, but they're there and you've encountered them. But people still aren't jumping on the bandwagon. And of course, some people are, naturally. I'm not saying everyone is completely oblivious to this, but I am just curious why there aren't more people that are acknowledging these things. Maybe they don't believe them. Maybe they don't want to believe them. I don't really want to believe them, to be honest. Maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should just continue to live my own positive lifestyle and throw caution to the wind. Say, well, not a lot I can do otherwise. I'm going to do my life and let other people do theirs. Which is kind of how I live. But or should I be more vocal about my standings or my thoughts? When I started this channel, I kind of wanted ASMR to be a little bit of a vocal platform for me to share some of my ideas. And my life has evolved ineffably since I started this channel. I I may have said this before, but I change very, very rapidly. Usually in the direction that I want. Though I take detours. And my goal was never to convince people. But I always have this haunting little voice in the back of my head that's telling me I need to speak up. Because I have a tendency to hide, and I'm sure that's evident to whatever degree. But I have a tendency to really work on something, to really solidify these thoughts and beliefs and ideas in my own head, and then to do nothing about them besides live them in my own life. And while there is usefulness in applying one's ideas and living them, expressing them, I think I want to share with more people what I think. And the internet is a great platform to do that. Some people treat me kind of funny. I've gotten messages and comments as if I was some sort of celebrity. Not on the level of an actual, what you would call a celebrity, but people act like I'm above them in some sense. And I don't get it. I'm not. I'm just like you. I am just a person. I am tangled up in the web of life, exploring and having fun and having challenges. I experience emotions, trials and tribulations, challenges that I create for myself. I'm in the same course. I tend to enjoy it though. Even if we do destroy our world, destroy ourselves, I will still be thankful that I got to live the life I did. And I think that's important. It's important to me. This life is beautiful. And truly, I am grateful to be a part of it. So, I've probably spoken enough for this morning. I will probably minimally edit this recording, just because I'm already pretty late. So you may have to deal with some stomach gurglings and things, but let that serve as a reminder that my stomach gurgles too. How profound. I am not sure how many people read my little website that I have. It's in the description if you're ever curious. I don't really post that much on it, and it's not all related to ASMR. I've just been kind of posting thoughts and random things that catch my attention in the moment. But if you do happen to read it, you will know that I set a goal for myself to record my first piano album by Christmas time of this year. And it's actually going well. I have one song which I think I may have the final copy for. If nothing else, I'm sitting down at the piano and recording every day just to practice, which is, in all honesty, really what I needed. And so I'm happy to share that there has been progress in that. I've also begun some other projects, which I've put off for a long, long time. And they are going very well too. Everything's going very well for me at the moment. I certainly have other challenges, but I guess they're going well for what they are. I don't know. But as always, I hope that you guys who are listening to me, those who can appreciate me as a person, and those who enjoy hearing me share. As always, I hope that I have helped you in some way. I hope that you are able to hear me and consider things. Reflect on your own life and your own existence in whatever way you feel is useful. I hope that you wake every morning with a smile on your face, excited at what possibilities you could experience throughout the day. And I hope you fall asleep dreaming of the possibilities, dreaming of what you love. Sweet dreams forever and ever and ever. Much love.